Hi, hello. Right, so my name is Jamie, as mentioned by Lester. So, in fact, yeah, the first slide actually details that. So let's just get straight into it. So, my name is Jamie. I'm a recent graduate from the University of Hull, studying computer science with games development. That was last year. Full time, and by day, I work at Marmalade as a developer support engineer, supporting our professional customers, our community on the forum, and generally just evangelizing the product and just making sure people are understanding how to use it and cool things like that. But in my own time, and one of my greatest passions is making games. I used to love playing games, but I actually don't have that much time anymore because I'm usually making them instead, and that's good because I like making games. So yeah, in my own time, so I've been running this little independent company-ish, whatever you want to call it, called Fluff Stuff Studios. If you're wondering why it's called Fluff Stuff, it's named after my cat. Here she is trying to eat some chicken off my plate, but she is my muse and my inspiration. Basically, so I've published about one game so far. It was called Plow. I published it last year natively to Android, and it got a few thousand downloads, and that was fine. And I was happy with that. It was my first real adventure into the market and stuff. So I didn't really care what I got as long as someone was playing something I worked hard on. That was my day made. But yeah, this new project, well, it's kind of interesting how it came about, and I'm sure you'll recognize the next slide, but it's very familiar, and it does have a very strong connection to it. And I'll probably get a few groans, and trust me, it's not just a clone, but Flappy Bird. Oh my god, it's going crazy. Okay, I don't know why it's going so fast, but basically, everyone here, I'm sure, who has a smartphone is familiar with Flappy Bird. Very, very simple game. You tap and it flies, and it's the most simple game yet. It accumulated I don't know if billions, but millions of downloads. They've made a lot of money, and it's just absolutely mental that such a simple concept could have such a grasp on so many people at the same time. And that was mental. So, like a lot of other developers, I said to myself, right, I'm going to make a clone. Why not? Let's see. I don't know if I'll release it, but let's see if I can do it. It's so simple. Maybe I can make something similar to that. So what I did, so this is probably around February time, I made, and by the way, I think I made the slideshow on a Windows PC, so it seems like Mac is speeding everything up. So if everything's going crazy, don't blame me. That's the Mac. Don't buy Macs. I don't like them. Right. So back in like February time or whenever it was, I decided, right, I'm going to make a clone. And I made a clone, which looks something like that. Oh my god, it actually looks okay. So, working at Marmalade, so that's actually the Marmalade logo flying through the air. And that's toast. I don't know, I thought it was funny at the time. You're Marmalade, you're dodging toast, you don't want to be spread. I don't know, I got a few more laughs than I thought I would. But yeah, that was a nice little project for me over the weekend, and it was fun. And I was like, yeah, you know what, that was kind of cool. But do I want to add, like, how much do I respect myself? Do I want to add to the already thousands of clones already out there? Do I want to try and make money? And, it was just kind of, maybe I respect myself too much, I don't know. But I didn't want to do that. That was silly. But I like the concept, and I like I spent quite a bit of time in it, and even though, yeah, I know it was cute, and I liked it. And, yeah, so moving on, we basically, so this wasn't, I hadn't started the actual game yet, but after the success of that, we basically ran a quick day. So this wasn't part of Fluff Stuff, this was part of my full-time job. I basically taught a bunch of students how to make Flappy Bird using Marmalade Quick. So we have a few, I don't know how much everyone knows about Marmalade, but the main tool is written in C++. And on top of that, we have Marmalade Quick, which is written in Lua. Lua is a very high-level scripting language, which is it's pretty weird if you're a developer, but it's actually really cool if you're not a developer, because you're doing, I don't know, it's just really nice. It's like you're coding in English, whereas if you're coding in another language, it's just kind of code talk. It's crazy. But yeah, so I managed to, I don't know, it kind of worked out. It was really hard. I didn't like coding live in front of people, like people watching what I was thinking, and if I messed up and stuff, that was not enjoyable. But yeah, it kind of worked out. We got a few games out in the end, and it was fun, and it was nice. But I decided, I had this sort of idea in my head that it was just it was kind of just spinning around. I was like, right, am I going to do this? Like, is it worth it? Maybe someone else has done it, and to be honest, I've been working on this for so long, I wouldn't be surprised if anyone has. But I got this idea of basically reversing the mechanic, and by that I mean instead of you controlling the bird, you control the towers, the columns, and it's up to you to try and make sure you survive. The flying thing survives for as long as possible by moving those things out the way, and that's where Polyganic was born. Polyganic, a bit of an odd name, and the reason it was that is sort of from this process. It started off as Flappy Jam, you spread marmalade, I don't know, yeah. Oh yeah, and then it turned to spread, and then Flappatron and Flappatron. Oh no, I was kind of, at this point I was still like, do I want to ride on the Flappy Bird, success? I don't know. But yeah, then it turned into, I decided, you know what, I'm really bad at art. And this actually kind of like connects quite strongly to the gift gaming talk, because I'm an indie developer, I'm pretty much all by myself, and it is really hard, having to do everything, the PR, the code, the art, music. I'm not a musician, I do not touch that, but everything else, it's still very, very hard, and it does take it out of you, and it makes you very tired, and it is kind of hard, but it's also, at the same time, I don't mean to tread on toes, but I would disagree that it's also very rewarding, because in the end, if whatever I show people, I can say I made that, and no one else did. Like, that was all me. But yeah, back to the name. So yeah, I finally decided. So going back to my other point, I'm really bad at art. I'm rubbish at art, and I decided, right, let's make something simple that actually looks kind of cool. And that sort of came to me about using shapes. Like, is anyone familiar with like Super Hexagon or Geometry Wars? Those kind of crazy, really stylistic, mental games, and there's not really much. There's a lot of particle effects and loads of stuff like that going on, but apart from that, it's not too complex. And I was like, you know what, I want to make something like that. That's simple, and I can do that. My crappy programmer art could pull that off possibly. So that's where the name came from, Polygon. Plus, it's going to be manic. It's going to be a bit crazy. Polyganic, cool. So here is the first sort of builds I had running. Oh, okay, it's sort of working maybe. So as you can see, maybe they'll start in a sec. I don't know. As you can see, this is a polygon. Oh, okay. I actually have no idea what's going on with this slide. Let's just keep going. So as you can see, he's flying through the air, and I'm controlling it with the mouse here. And you need to drag those things out the way. And okay, they're all working. Yeah. So it's cool. Like, it was sort of, I guess at this point I was like, you know what? I want to make a really cool reverse Flappy Bird that combines Geometry Wars and Super Hexagon and makes it look crazy, but also is also really fun. And yeah, it kind of came together. And I made these are sort of the prototypes, and I was like, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna make it as good as I can. So moving on. So here's some really rubbishy art. That's my first menu. Can't really even read the writing. There's a bit of a tutorial that I had happening, but it was sort of coming together. And the reason I'm saying post on Reddit is anyone a Redditor here? Oh my god! People use Reddit. It's a really interesting website. I'll explain in a second, but it's basically related to community and exposure and sharing and getting feedback and stuff. But I'll talk about that in a second. Moving on. So 5 months ago, it's starting to get a little bit more complex. The menu's sort of starting to come together. It's just looking nicer and nicer. A few months ago, and then it's sort of really coming together as an actual game. And yeah, it's kind of crazy that it's fun. And like, I didn't really think it was, you usually don't really know something's fun until you make it. You can have all these ideas, but it might not be executed correctly. But in my case, it was kind of coming together, and I really liked it, and I kept on going. So, hey, move slides. There you go. So yeah, as a one-man team, it is difficult. Like, I don't really have that much of a budget to spend on marketing. I don't really have much. It's pretty much all on me. So I gotta say, one of the most important things that's really helped me sort of come to the place where I am now is getting feedback. And that's not just like family and friends and stuff like that, but I mean, the internet is there for a reason, and you need to use it. Like, I've literally, so talking about Reddit, so Reddit is a massive website where it has loads of different sections. One of the sections, which I frequent quite a lot, is Reddit Game Dev. And they've got a few days, important days, called Feedback Friday, Screenshot Saturday, and Marketing Monday. And you can post whatever you want. You can post a build on Friday or a few screenshots of your app on Saturday, and people will tell you what they think. And what's really good, and I guess it depends how thick-blooded you are. I don't know if that's the term, but these people are going to be real. Like, you can ask family and friends; they'll probably sugarcoat it, even if it's, them saying, "Oh, it looks really good," could mean what? Like, what is this? But people online, they're going to be honest, and they're going to criticize you. It might hurt a few times, but apart from that, it is all really constructive and it was all really good. I also used a website called forums.pigsource.com. It's like another indie game website. I really suggest getting involved with those if you're making games. Just try and get as much feedback as you can. I also demoed at a few events called, there was one at Insomnia, which was in Coventry, and also in Platform. So feedback is honestly, if I've learned anything about indie development, just ask people. Like, it's really hard, because, you know, especially if you're working by yourself, usually if you're with a team, you can bounce ideas off each other and stuff, and there's always that sort of collaboration happening. But when you're not, it's kind of hard, and you could be spending hours making something that isn't actually that fun. So that's kind of a bit of an issue. But yeah, also free testing, free exposure. You're not paying people to test your game. People are testing your game and they're happy to. And you're also networking. You might actually make some cool contacts. So something really big happened recently for me. I've been working on it for, I don't know, a good 6 months or something. I'm not, maybe a little bit longer. I could have released the game very, very simply. Like, I had this concept. I could have done like a one-level game, like Flappy Bird or anything like that. But I'd already did that with my other game, which I won't bother talking about now. But I decided, you know what, I want to make something a little bit more complex. Maybe some levels, some different game modes, maybe an in-game shop that you can use to like buy skins and stuff like that. And just really try and immerse the player and just keep them coming back for more. So this is why this pitch thing happened a few weeks ago. So I'm sure you're familiar with Pocket Gamer, massive website. They review games. They do all sorts of things. They quite regularly, and I believe the next one is in January at Pocket Gamer Connect. So I suggest if anyone's got a really good looking game or even a really cool prototype, get involved. But yeah, they ran this thing called the Big Indie Pitch, which was about 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. And I sort of went in, I went last year with my first game, Plow, and I didn't get anything. And I was like, you know what, it was fun. But it's pretty much just speed dating with journalists. You sit down, you have 5 minutes, you've got to tell them about your game, you've got to say why it's good, why it's fun, why people will play it, and then ding, 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 move on. So there's about 4 people in total. So yeah, I went this year, and I decided, you know, why not? It'll be fun. Worst case, even if I don't win, you know, I've got a journalist giving me feedback. Sort of, once again, going on the whole feedback thing I was talking about before. And the craziest thing in the world, and I honestly still cannot believe it, but I won. Out of about 20 or 25, I'm not sure how many games presented, but my game, Polyganic, oh, that's such an, I don't know why I put that photo in, but yeah, they took a photo of me holding this cuddly toy that I won, and it was absolutely mental. My game, journalists had liked my game enough to, you know, award it higher than other people, and such a simple concept, and even very, very loosely a clone, but at the same time, you know, a whole spin on it and stuff, and that was crazy, and that's what they said. I should have probably posted links to it, but that's what they said. They said it was really cool. They sort of, and what's amazing is they actually got it. Like, I didn't advertise anywhere that I was making like a combination of Geometry Wars and all that stuff. The guy reviewing, well, writing the article said, "Oh, it's like a mix of all these games. It's cool," and that was really cool. So, in terms of actually looking at the game, let's see if this works. I've got a trailer here. Is it going to work? I don't know if there's sound, but maybe if there's not, then I'm going to talk anyway. Oh god, it's loud. Okay, fine. Right, you might be blind, like deaf in a bit. So this was my first dig at Flappy Bird. Like, there's so many clones. Oh god, they were crap. And then, oh wow, that comes in. So this trailer was announced, released recently. Okay, it's not so loud. So yeah, this is pretty much it. It's sort of like, it's a bit more 8-bit now, but as you can see, he's flying through the air. When he's blue, he's going straight. When he's red, he's going down. When he's green, he's going up. And it's up to you, the player, to basically watch as, you know, just be prepared and move them out of the way and try and survive for as long as possible. You've got loads of stuff going on. You've got these collectible coins, like, which I said before, with an in-game shop. You have different shapes, so the first level you're a shape, then you turn into a square, and a pentagon, and a hexagon. What's amazing is, and this is what I was going on before, I mean, I think it looks good, but it's really not that much going on. I've got a square, I've got some triangles, and it's not that much, but in combination, I like to think it looks pretty good. And as from a programmer's art perspective, that's good, because, you know, art is hard, and, you know, if you don't have the budget to, you know, spend on that, then that's an option. So that was the trailer. That was my little thing, and there's my no flapping necessary, as in, no, it's not a Flappy Bird clone before you think it is. So yeah, so it's sort of getting picked up, and it's really cool. So in terms of how I made the game, so I work for Marmalade full time, and there's that saying, and I hate saying it, and there's probably a better one for it, but there's that, what is it, like, you have to eat your own dog food, or something like that, which basically means, you know what, like, if I'm working for the company, do I believe in the product? You know, let's see if I can make a game with it, and this is where the Marmalade Quick thing came in. I was familiar with C++, in fact, I am a C++ developer, but I decided to try making something. It was a simple game. Maybe I'll use a simple engine to make it. And this is where Marmalade Quick came in. So Marmalade Quick is, as I said before, written completely in Lua, a high-level scripting language. It's really good for newer developers because it's really simple to just understand what's going on really quickly. It's said quickly loads of times there. But for more experienced developers, I guess, I don't know, it was a bit weird for me because it felt like I was going backwards. There's certain little things that you need to get your head. If anyone's familiar with Python, it's sort of like that, and I don't know Python either, so it was all new to me. It was all weird. But yeah, so in terms of how this was good for me, so yeah, it was written fully in Lua. I did do some C++ development. What's really good about Quick is it's fully extendable. So for example, Quick is the Lua side, and it sits on top of the main SDK, which is written in C++. So for example, if there was a certain function or let's say I wanted to make use of like add duplex or Windows ads or something like that on the Windows Phone or Windows Store, and it wasn't exposed in Quick, I could pretty much easily just write a quick wrapper and then have that available in Quick so I could use that. So that's pretty much all the C++ did. It was basically just wrappers. What was really good is we actually have, I'm not just trying to sell Marmalade, but this is from a developer's perspective. I did most of my testing on the PC. Like, I didn't need to deploy it over and over and over and over. And that's time. That's time that you could be spending testing. Because, compilation time and deployment, like, it's a good 10, 20, and it adds up, the more code, etc., etc. So, what's good is Marmalade Simulator allowed me to do all of that on the PC. And that was really good, because once I tested it, the mouse click was emulating the user touch, and the simulator was doing a bunch of things. So, like, it was like I was using a device, and it was really useful for me. I hate Macs, as I said before, and I don't have a Mac. So deploying to an iPhone or an iPad or whatever from my Windows PC was even sweeter. It was just really useful, and it's good. It's kind of nice that usually Apple forces you to do these things. You got to do Objective C, you got to do Xcode, you got to do all this stuff, but we sort of go around that and say, if you want to deploy to an iPad, you can, you betcha. Easily extendable, as I said. And no compilation, well, there's a bit of compilation, but what it is all the code is basically passed and read and processed at runtime. So if I wanted to make a quick change, all I need to do is just restart the simulator. I wouldn't need to close it down and rebuild and all that stuff. So that's, once again, time saving and really, really good. Moving on. So I just thought, there's loads of stuff going on, but I thought I'd give you an insight into how I worked out a few of the problems that I came across in my game from a technical perspective. So the first one, it needs to be fast. So I'm hoping to publish the game on mobile. Mobiles are not fast. Well, they are. Actually, they're really fast now, but they're not as fast as the resources you usually have available on Windows PCs and Macs and stuff. They're just, if you don't appreciate that you're working with limited hardware, then it's going to bite you, and your app will run slow, or will lag, or it just will crash. So I was trying to be very careful with all my resources. I would rather reuse an object rather than delete and create. I'd just be very, very careful. So that comes with the setup and teardown stuff as well. Each scene, so I've got a menu scene, a game scene. Every time there's a scene change, it will basically rip up everything off the current scene and then build everything for the new scene. So it's pretty basic stuff, but honestly makes speed. Just really makes rap faster. A lot of event listeners, so I would add just loads of an event listener. Or maybe I should describe what that is first. An event listener is basically what it says on the tin. You're setting something. You're saying, right, you're going to listen for this certain event, and when this happens, we're going to do something about it. So as you can see, I did a few, including touch. So when one of the pillars were touched, we're going to respond accordingly. A collision, if the polygon had collided with one of the columns, there was a game over. An update that's being called 60 times a second, etc., etc. So it's all useful stuff. Most importantly, and this is why it sort of looks okay on every platform, is I decided to use a virtual resolution. Virtual resolutions, they're probably. It really depends on what you're developing. You usually should design your app like platform and resolution and device independent, so it sort of looks good and everything. Using a virtual resolution is sort of the cheating way. It just kind of it says, right. So in my case, I created the virtual resolution at 800 by 480, and it pretty much will stay to that. Like everything, all the nodes, all the buttons will stay in that sort of in that sort of shape. And if we go on a new resolution, like a bigger screen or a small screen, it will just kind of resize that. But everything inside will still stay the same. So that's really good, and it saves a lot of time. It's a bit of a lazy way, but I don't know, it's lazy. From a design perspective, so like I said, so as it's just me, I'm doing everything. I'm doing the code, the design, etc., etc. So from a design perspective, how did I work out some of the issues of making the game fun, like functional and playable and actually good? So first of all, the directions. So the way I decided to do that is actually very, very simple. What's amazing? I wish I showed like a proper demo, but what's actually happening here is our polygon is not moving anywhere on the x-axis. He's literally staying still the whole time. These are basically moving over and over and over and over constantly, and every time they go off the screen, they just reload and they reload. They get a new height, obviously to mix things up. But that's pretty much all that is happening. What I am doing with the polygon is moving it every 3 seconds. Well, it depends on the level, but after a period of time, it will say, right, I need to make a new direction. It's either going to be up, down, or straight. And it's very simple. I just made like I think I just created like a random integer between 1 and 30. If between 1 and 10, go up. Between 10 and 20, down. Otherwise, just go straight. And that's it. And what's really interesting is the game actually looks like you're flying through this adventurous space and stuff, but you're not. He's just staying still. Everything else is moving. It's kind of a cool little cheat that a lot of people do. Yeah, so you could see, at least during the trailer, it was getting crazier and crazier. It starts out quite nice and simple, then the particle systems come in, and the colours start changing, and then you're wondering, where am I, what is going on? So that is another thing I do. Basically, I work out the percentage of each level, because each level is timed differently, and I say every 5% of that current time, we're going to do something. We're going to maybe add a new particle system, or we're going to change colours, or we're going to do something cool. So that's sort of how that's worked out. The coins, as you can see, there's a bunch of coins here. This is currently a coin combo. And you could see before, there were a few random coins, a few yellow ones, a few red ones. If you're able to collect 9 yellow ones in a row, then you get this crazy coin combo, and you can then use those coins to buy in-game stuff, and that's another thing to keep the player immersed. As I said, the harder the level, it gets more and more harsh. So I made it 2 ways that the game gets more harsh. First of all, so the first level was the triangle. Oh, by the way, each level is based on the shape and how many sides it has. So the first level is a triangle, next square, blah, 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 blah. So currently on the first level, if he's going to move up, he's going to move slightly up. If you go on the 5th level, like Pentagon or something, he's going to go like faster up. So it just makes it harder, and the player needs to be prepared for that, because it gets, if anyone's played Super Hexagon, it's sort of like that. It gets crazy. I also did some just miss combos. So if you just miss a pillar, then boom, you will get like a ×2, ×3, which is shown at the top left over there. So where is Polyganic going? So using the power of Marmalade, a cross-platform SDK, it's going quite a few places. I actually published the iOS version last night, and I'm hoping to get the Windows Phone and Windows Store version done tonight. And it's all sort of coming together to try and make a Christmas release. And it's all really through the power of Marmalade, and I'm not just trying to big up because I work for them, but I've already developed an Android native application, and that's stuck now. Like, I cannot be bothered to rewrite that. That is a lot of code, and I've got no time for that. But using this single code base, I can just sort of send it everywhere, and it's just very useful, very easy. So yeah, iOS, hopefully they're going to approve it. Android, Windows Phone, Windows Store. And we also support BlackBerry and stuff like that, but I don't know if I'm going to put it there. I don't know if people own those anymore. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. If anyone wants to keep updated with the release or anything, or even any questions, there's my website, there's a Facebook and a Twitter and stuff like that. And yeah, thank you for listening. Any questions about anything in life? Yes.
Do you plan to monetize it in any
Yeah. I wanted to speak about this and I completely forgot. Yeah, glad you brought that up. Yeah, so I'm being really careful with that because, to be honest, it's really difficult as an app developer nowadays because the whole free-to-play term has been tainted by games like the games that make you wait to do stuff. Like they add timers and you have to pay now, do this now, otherwise come back later. And they frustrate me and it's really annoying because they are so prevalent now. There are so many free games that it's on the flip side you can no longer really you can't really release premium apps because our users, our potential targets, are so used to free games. They're like, why is this worth paying for when all these games are free? And that is kind of frustrating because you get stuck in the same category. So yeah, my game will be free and there will be in-app purchasing and there will be ads, but unfortunately it's going to be labelled as most free apps into this whole freemium thing going on, and that's kind of annoying. So I've tried to personally be very careful with it. So the way it works is you have ads, and those coins that you collect in game you can use to spend in the in-game shop. And if you want to unlock some more skins quicker, then you can pay me 50p or something. You get like 1,000, 2,000. I'm no way forcing the user to do any of that. That's completely up to them. In terms of advancing levels, that is pretty much based on skill. There's no paying to get ahead of anyone. And to be honest, I think that's the way it should be. It's not. People shouldn't be on top of the leaderboard just because they've paid a little bit extra than someone else. So that's my own personal opinion on the matter. But yeah, so yes. So your question, yes, it will be monetized. Any other questions? No? Cool. Great. Thank you for listening, and hopefully it will be out soon, and you can rate it 5 stars. Thank you. Cheers.